I have a hot take, which not many people will agree with me. This is one of the many reasons why I don't like talking about lore. Whenever I'm asked to do any kind of lore video or lore stream, I tend to be pushed away from my own ideas because of people usually tend to dig through lore to make any sense, to find out any reason to believe or not to what is being talked about. I personally think that lore can be whatever you want, as long as you have your own ideas on how it could make sense to you. If you can make your own lore idea work, then it should be fine for you to share with people and let others tell you about what they think about it. However, you should never allow anyone to tell you that you're wrong. If it makes sense for you, you should keep that lore to yourself, as it is your own story on how you see this story coming up together. Especially with a game like Fear and Hunger, where you're able to come up with your own reasons as to why stuff happens. Fear and Hunger Termina is not a finished product. You can tell what is and isn't part of what is known as canon because of the fact that there's many loopholes that don't conclude the story. Like, for example, why is Samari alive when you clearly killed her in Marina's story? Why is August having the same abilities as Ragnavaldr, using the same weapon? Why are people born with a soul that makes them above the rest? Why only a few are able to have a soul? Why is this soul able to shape them this much? So many questions that don't have an answer. So many confusing thoughts that make you wonder how the story makes sense. And to tell you the truth, it doesn't. I've been told that characters from Fear and Hunger 1 have canon endings that contradict each other, to the point that it really just is up to you to determine how it makes sense to you and how you come up with a conclusion that reaches Fear and Hunger 2 as a continuation. My hot take in this game is that August is a time traveler. August has the ability to time travel and is also Ragnavaldr. So in a way, Ragnavaldr was able to teleport in any way possible, either by living without dying, either by moving through the time, or any kind of way that will allow him to move forward in time to the point where he is in Fear and Hunger 2. Why do I come up with this conclusion? Let me explain to you. Like I said before, in a world where you're able to be born with a soul that allows you to be above the rest, what you cannot really tell what is normal and what isn't. With the knowledge that there's some characters who can actually teleport through lands by praying to a certain god, why couldn't it be that you can actually teleport through time? Knowing that there's characters that have the ability to one-shot you, requiring you to go through a chance to survive against their attacks. Considering that there's characters who can revive after being killed and become but a flesh pile of nothingness, of meat, and they still remain with their own thoughts of the past. How would it not make sense that August is not Ragnavaldr, considering that the story can be whatever we want and whatever the author wants, because it's a completely different world than what we live in. This is not real life. This is not the world we live in. This is Fear and Hunger's world, where there's rules that we don't know that they exist, where there's things that haven't been explained to us. Why do we ignore the fact that stuff can be whatever we want and whatever the developer wants? In a world where magic exists, with everyone knowing magic, if they decide to pray to a certain god, where you exchange heads to be able to power up and learn new magic and new spells, whether you are able to slay multiple enemies in a row while being alone in a dungeon, that does sound weird to the point that it doesn't make any sense, where characters accept the fact that they're fighting enemies with big stingers. The characters fight against a big head that floats without commenting on it being weird. This world has no limits. The stuff that happens, the things that can happen to you as a player, have no limits at all, to the point that you will experience stuff that makes no sense, but you will come to realize that this is the world they live in. Fear and Hunger. It's a strange world because it was made from scratch, with thoughts that would make sense to you if you get into the idea of what this land could be. I personally think that the thought of Ragnavaldr being a time traveler and changing their name to August in Fear and Hunger 2 to be able to have revenge on Kaiser, I think it makes sense to me, because as I said before, we have no way to prove it that it's not true. He uses the same weapon, he has the same skills, specifically the same skills. He has Warcry in Devour, right? These skills are Ragnavaldr exclusive in Fear and Hunger 1. But what is this? There's a 4th skill called Sisu, and this skill says your will to live. You just grind your teeth together instead of dying. You're not ready just yet. What does this tell you? Could it be that the tormented soul, aka Ragnavaldr, survive through fear and hunger 1 for revenge. And this skill does prevent you from dying, leaving you at 1 body, right? What tells you that Ragnavaldr is in August, having survived a mortal blow and deciding to change everything, just to hide from Kaiser and take him by surprise? Like I said before, this game can be your own lore, this game can have your own story, as long as you can believe it, it can be your own story. I come from reading Homestuck, and in Homestuck, what they did was they did Homestuck Beyond Canon, which is a story that has the characters of Homestuck going through scenarios that they would never go through, explaining that it is beyond canon. The story of Homestuck 1 has finished, but it can go on if you choose to. And this tells the people who watch the comic they can come up with their own ideas on how the comic would continue, or it could end like that. It's up to you always to come up with your own lore on fan fiction, as long as you respect others. I had this on my mind for a long time, and I hope you guys can understand why it took me a long time to say all this. I hope you guys enjoyed my hot take on August being Ragnavaldr, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.